Creating database objects. Let's start with simple data types. There are four very basic data types, namely varchar2, the n implies a number of characters, the maximum is 4,000. Varchar2 is a variable or non-fixed length string variable. Second basic data type is a char variable, it's a fixed length variable. Variable length or varchar string variables save space if you want to store variable length strings into string data types. However, the result of using varchar variables is variable length records. If you know the length of the string, more or less, or the string is small, say under 16 characters, you should really use a char variable. A char variable is a fixed length string. For instance, for storing states, which is 2 characters, you know that there will always be 2 characters. You should use a char and not a varchar. A varchar variable has an overhead in that it records both the value in the string itself plus the length of the string. The char variable will simply store the value in a fixed length value. So if you have 2 characters and the char is 10 characters long, it will store 2 characters in a space of 10 characters. The third basic data type is a number variable. Every numeric variable in Oracle, whether it be an integer, a float value, a real number, which is the same as a float, or a small integer, will be converted to a number variable. Every number variable data type has parameters called P and S. They can be defaulted, in other words, they can be ignored. P stands for precision, the number of characters. S stands for scale, which implies the number of characters to the right of the decimal point, if there is a decimal point. It's important to note that all number variables will internally, inside the database, will take up the same amount of space. The same applies to a date field. A date field simply stores a date as a Julian date, which is a number in seconds counted from the year dot, which would be, for instance, the 1st of January 1970. That date value is converted to a Julian number, which, when a date field is retrieved in a tool such as SQL+, it will be automatically converted to the default format or whatever format you set it to. For instance, month / day / year. A small extension to two of the basic data types are national character set data types. What these data types store are any character in any language, for instance, Chinese characters, etc., etc. A slight variation on the varchar2 and char variables. Some other numeric data types. It is important to note that these data types can be created in PL/SQL and used in procedures, but when creating a field in the database, an integer and a small int will be converted to a number automatically. A float will remain a float data type. Float has precision, which implies the number of characters after the decimal point. A float has precision, which is actually the length of the float field. The floating point implies that the decimal point can be anywhere within the number. In other words, the number of numerals after the decimal point is variable. Some other simple data types. A timestamp, that's new to Oracle 9.9. A row ID contains a string value representation of, or let's say a logical string value representation of a row in the database. That string value is generally a pointer. It's logical because it's dependent on the data file, the table space, the table, where in the table it is. Details of what a row ID exactly is more general database administration, which we'll see in another course. The U row ID is really a variation on the row ID.